The quest to bring the greatest fantasy novels of all time to the big screen is almost at an end. The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, represents the final step in a journey that has taken the audience, the filmmakers, and cinema itself to the very edge of its collective imagination. It's a journey that has catapulted J.R.R. Tolkien's seminal tales of action and adventure, good and evil, and heroism and danger back into the mainstream.
The board is set. The pieces are moving.
It's a journey that has seen the rise of New Zealand as a genuine filmmaking force on the world stage. It's a journey that has pushed the boundaries of cinematic technology to bring us images, characters, and stories that we never thought possible on the big screen. And it's a journey that's taken Peter Jackson from cult filmmaker to superstar director. And when you think about it, all it really took was 6 films, 15 years, 17 Oscars, and almost $5 billion at the worldwide box office. And that's just so far. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Peter Jackson! How does it feel being here at the world premiere for the final Middle-earth movie?
Well, it feels very surreal, but you know, it's a strange occasion because it's the last of these movies. But the reception and the welcome from all the fans that have been standing here, some of them for 2 or 3 days, it makes you feel really warm and fuzzy.
While glitzy premieres are often a celebration of a job well done, this one is tinged with some sadness as well. Because for those involved, this isn't just another movie getting its first public airing. This is the culmination of years of effort, and for some, the end of the most significant work they'll ever do. Because after all, this is the beginning of the end of Middle-earth. The Battle of the Five Armies brings not only Peter Jackson's blockbusting Hobbit trilogy to a close, but also his entire Middle-earth saga. Painted on the biggest possible canvases, these movies have changed cinema itself by entirely revitalizing the fantasy genre and bringing Tolkien's spellbinding universe to a brand new audience. But the epic quests for triumph and glory aren't just the ones we've seen on screen in the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. They've taken place behind the scenes as well, with an army of skilled and dedicated filmmakers pushing the boundaries of what is possible in cinema. So, in the next hour, I'm going to be taking my own version of that same epic journey as I meet some of the people who've helped shape the movies and travel halfway around the world to experience Middle-earth for myself. But every journey starts with a first step, and mine is a pretty short one as I meet with Peter Jackson in London to talk about the new movie and his Middle-earth saga coming to its conclusion. It's a fairly grand opening for our chat today, Peter, because this really is the beginning of the end of Middle-earth.
Yes, it is. It's the beginning of the middle of the end of the beginning of the... No, I mean, you know, it's I've got to go back to New Zealand and do the extended cut of the Battle of the Five Armies, and then I am truly done.
Okay.
Yes, got a little bit more work to do yet.
So there's still some.
Absolutely.
There's still some to come.
Yes.
Because, I mean, this is the end of your entire 6-film Middle-earth saga, or
Correct,
if I can be so bold, the Hobbit hexology, as I've taken to calling it.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. I mean, and you know, that's actually an interesting thing because we are, you know, we're only 2 or 3, 4 years away from kids who are, you know, too young to see The Hobbit today. So like 3, 4 year olds. You know, they're going to be 8, 9, and they're going to be able to watch these 6 films in the order they were supposed to be. Because I think everybody sort of, it's The Hobbit has sort of come on, and everyone sort of is thinking of it. I mean, as a sequel to The Lord of the Rings in terms of the film world and releasing it, and you know that made money, so now they're going to do more. And but you know, I look forward to the day really, which is you know not that far away, where literally all that's forgotten, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the one that we talking about today is number 3, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone in that. I think there's hundreds, thousands, millions of people who can't wait, including myself, to be able to sit down and watch them chronologically, because I haven't been able to do that yet, because I watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy back to back.
Did you? I've never ever done that.
You've never watched it back to back?
Well, I don't see my films. I mean, I haven't seen any of my movies, so I guess that explains why, doesn't it, really? But yeah, I mean, one day I will. I think I always have to wait about 20 years before I can really look at anything I've ever made. I'm getting to the point that I can watch Heavenly Creatures actually soon.
Let's talk about the Battle of the Five Armies, though. How did you want to go about achieving something with this movie that would be a suitable end to the whole saga?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, we were dealing with the Hobbit book, and you know, we've obviously made 3 films out of 1 book. But what that does give you is it gives you the 3rd movie being nothing really other than the climax of the book, because it's all that's left.
Thorin, you gave a promise.
Well, I think if you like the story and if you've enjoyed the first 2, then A, you'll want to know how it ends, and B, I think Peter Jackson has pulled out all the stops.
It's absolutely kind of quintessential Peter Jackson, brilliant filmmaking and storytelling.
To call it the Battle of the Five Armies is to summon up something which is ultimately going to feel epic.
You brought upon them only ruin and death. Everybody involved in this movie, character-wise, all have a story to tell, and they all have a closing chapter.
You've won the mountain, is that not enough? Now, we defend it.
What the Battle of the Five Armies does is to give such a great broad landscape to every single character to have a heroic moment as we draw to the end of this tale.
The final film, although entitled The Battle of the Five Armies, is as much a battle of the heart as it is a battle of swords.
At its heart, it's a very emotional story. It's a political story in the sense that it's about greed. It's an epic story, and the battle sequences are just unlike anything one will have ever seen.
You know, the clue is in the title. There's a massive, massive battle in it.
There's no point in having this battle if the people involved, the main protagonists on the battlefield, are people that we don't really know and don't really care about.
When faced with death, what can anyone do?
You zoom in and you focus on certain characters and their journey through this battle, and then you go somewhere else and you see the whole thing. It's not just one big spectacle, which it could easily have been.
I will not hide while others fight our battles for us!
It wraps up the story of the dwarves' quest. It ties up the story of Bilbo. And then this 3rd Hobbit film does something rather cunning. It leads the audience on to The Lord of the Rings, particularly in its last moments when it's a rather nice surprise happens.
You have but one question to answer. How shall this day end?
What I've got to do with this movie is to, I mean, I've got the climax of the book, so it's great. I'm in a good place. Main characters get killed for the first time, which is fantastic for a filmmaker. And, you know, you get to do that, you get the big climactic battle, but I'm also aware that it's part 3, and the next chapter in the 6th episode is the Fellowship of the Ring, which was back in 2001 or whatever it is. So I'm sort of having to shape it so it's the end of that story, but it's going to lead us into the beginning of the next 3 films.
And so managing all those potentially disparate elements, you know, as well as making what has to be a
can drive you insane. Get you very middle, but it's fun. I mean, it's actually, look, hey, it's fun. It's like it's a challenge.
And you've never watched sanity start to drift away and have to reel it back in?
I probably have, but I wouldn't know it because I was insane at the time.
Having heard the cast and filmmakers talk about their experiences, it's time for me to find out for myself. So, I'm winging my way to New Zealand for a closer look at the real-life places and people who've brought Middle-earth to life for cinema audiences around the world. After the break, my journey begins. I've experienced Middle-earth on the big screen in both the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogies, but now it's time to witness it in the flesh as I arrive in New Zealand for my own version of There and Back Again. My journey is set to begin with one of the most recognisable locations from the entire saga.
What better place to start my journey than where the whole adventure began? Welcome to New Zealand. Welcome to Middle-earth.
In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit.
With those words, J.R.R. Tolkien set in motion a series of adventures that would mesmerise and enthrall generations of readers. And, chronologically speaking at least, it's exactly where the movies kick off as well. That's why this is the only place for me to start, just as it was for Bilbo Baggins and his nephew Frodo.
While the physical incarnation of Hobbiton is here in the rather wonderfully named Matter, New Zealand, on Tolkien's maps, it always appeared in the equivalent location that Great Britain would appear on a world map. And that's because that's what the Shire was meant to represent. Ye merry old England, where people like to drink, a dance, and a hearty laugh. Although, in this case, those people were hobbits.
And that's what Peter Jackson and his design team wanted to capture when they transposed Tolkien's work from page to screen.
It's beautiful, and on a sunny day it is absolutely gorgeous. It's truly idyllic. It looks like perfect kind of British countryside.
Here, Mr. Bilbo, where are you off to? Stop, I'm already late. Late for what? I'm going on an adventure.
All of this used to be farmland as far as the eye can see. No buildings, no roads, no electrical pylons, which is why, when this location was first spotted from an aerial viewing back in 1998, it became the perfect location for Peter Jackson to create his Hobbiton.
Just another day at the office for me now.
I love that. This is just another day at the office for you.
Well, it is, you know, I mean, it's in the middle of our farm, and the sheep and the cows and the lambs and the calves. You probably saw them coming in today.
I did. I saw them all on the way in, and they seem like I don't think they realise, you know, how important this place is.
You mean the sheep and the cows?
What perhaps the camera doesn't convey is just how big this place is, because it's huge. There is a reason this is the world's largest existing movie set, as well as all the hobbit holes, the lake, the famous tree. This place also has its very own pub, which you've probably heard of.
The Green Dragon, the centrepiece of the Shire for Frodo and friends. What better way is there to unwind after a hard day's hobbiting? Or, for that matter, going up against the unstoppable forces of darkness.
Yes, the Green Dragon pub. A little quieter than usual today, but what it lacks in raucous hobbit parties, it's making up for with sleeping cats.
The way I see it, if you can't beat them, get down on the hearthrug and join them. After all, there is something incredibly relaxing about being in this place. As I make my way around, it's difficult not to imagine myself living the carefree life of a hobbit. What's amazing to me is that the creative team behind the Middle-earth movies has actually crafted an environment that has the same effect on the characters as it does on the people visiting the location where it was all shot. Part of that creative team is art director Brian Massey, who's been at the heart of Hobbiton from the beginning of the journey.
Tell me, first of all, what it is about this location that we find ourselves here in Matter that is so perfect.
Well, generally the whole Waikato district is this, you know, that rolling green hills. So they always came to this area looking, but they also needed a few things. And one was the lake, another one was a huge tree, and then some rising ground for bag unit. They had a look at a lot of lakes, but as soon as they got to this one, it was pretty much decided one way or another this was going to be Hobbiton.
I don't think I could ever get used to the sheer beauty and tranquility of this place, and more importantly, I don't think I'd ever want to. So I bid a fond farewell to Hobbiton, but it's onwards and indeed upwards as I continue my journey.
Sam, I'm glad you're with me.
The thing about Middle-earth is it is huge, and poor Frodo and Sam, they had to walk the length of it. So right now, I'm doing a Gandalf and calling in the help of a giant eagle. Except I'm not Gandalf, and this isn't an eagle. Oh, I'm excited.
Fortunately, I'm not going to be relying on wizardly ways to show me Middle-earth from the air. Instead, I've got the best of the best. Peter Jackson's right-hand man for the aerial unit on all 6 movies, Alfie Spate. Throughout both The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings trilogies, Peter Jackson's use of eye-popping aerial photography really helped to create a world of magnificent vastness. And I'm going to get a taste of that as I take to the skies.
Because if you want to appreciate the true scale and beauty of Middle-earth, what better way to do it than from the air?
We're looking for hobbits. Megan, you seen any?
No, good luck with that.
Right, keep looking.
My ticket for the flight through Middle-earth includes a brief layover to stretch my legs. I'm not going to stretch them too far, though. After all, it's a very, very long way down.
And we are down. That is how you get to the top of a mountain. You get Alfie to fly you up here. Alfie, thank you. Brilliant. I mean, just look around. Look around. It's just stunning. Just to give you an idea of how much of this landscape Peter Jackson used in the films, from this one point, I can see a location that featured in every single one of the films. That's Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, and the Hobbit movies. In the distance, Isengard. The ridgeline you see disappearing into the clouds, the opening of the 2 towers. Down there, they filmed some of the Battle of the 5 Armies. Behind the camera, the Hobbit movies were shot. So right now, I'm basically at the middle of Middle-earth.
While I could stay here and appreciate that view forever, and I really could, it's time to get back to the chopper and Alfie as my journey continues.
So we've been there, and now we're going back again.
There and back again.
And if you take a look out of your left window right now, you'll see the Fellowship just below you, running along the ridge there. That's Aragorn up front, followed by Legolas, and then, of course, the Hobbits trailing behind. Lovely.
I know it sounds crazy, but you genuinely expect to come over the top of a mountain to the sight of a band of hobbits, elves, dwarves, and Ian McKellens on their way to Mordor.
In New Zealand, you've got a lot of English-looking countryside, often stretched to its extremes. It's very alluring for someone in the film business to go there. You feel you're coming home. It all looks familiar somehow. but it's more empty. And then there are world-beating experts to design your costumes, design the scenery, and get behind the camera.
I mean, you very quickly run out of adjectives being here. You spectacular, stunning, unbelievable, otherworldly, unreal, wonderful. I mean, it's amazing. There you go, that's my final adjective.
And just as I was thinking that it couldn't possibly get any better, it did.
Just below me right now is the moment in Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, when Frodo is saved by Liv Tyler. The Black Riders are chasing her. The wall of water, push, down there, right now.
We could get a bit lower.
Oh, yeah? Alf is the man. We're going lower. I think it was my over-enthusiastic description of the scene that's really sold him on the idea of going lower.
It's here, as the river winds through Skipper's Canyon near Arrowtown, that Peter Jackson chose to stage what is, without doubt, one of the most iconic scenes from the entire Middle-earth saga. The nail-biting chase comes to its dramatic conclusion at the fords of Brunim. In reality, it's the stunning Arrow River in Otago, New Zealand's South Island.
So here we are! Frodo saved by Arwen. The Black Riders desperately want to get their hands on him, and from up there she calls forth the wall of water, which comes straight down here. They're gone. Frodo's safe. I mean, it's just so unbelievable. Unbelievable to be standing in this spot.
On screen, it's a moment that really illustrates the action and the danger that exists in this world. Plus, of course, the dedication and courage of our heroes. And it's all summed up in one single, glorious line of dialogue.
If you want him, come and claim him!
All right, Liv Tyler does it far better than me.
If you want him, come and claim him.
I guess it shows how good an actress Liv Tyler is that she can hold it together in a place as exciting as this.
Of all the locations to actually come here in New Zealand, I mean, this is my favourite location, my favourite scene from the Fellowship of the Ring. It's one of my favourite scenes from all the movies, and now we're here. I'm here. We've just landed a helicopter in the middle of a river. It's Wednesday.
Join me after the break when my journey continues with a closer look at the cutting-edge technology that's being used to bring Middle-earth to life on the big screen. Plus, Peter Jackson is giving nothing away about the final movie in his epic saga.
Now, you know, burning Lake Town down, if it does burn down, spoiler alert.
My adventure through Middle-earth has already taken me down to the Shire and up the misty mountains, but now it's time to take a look behind the scenes as I visit the Weta Workshop. While Weta Digital handle all the computer-generated imagery for Middle-earth, it's here at the workshop that all the practical elements are created for both the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogies.
Perfect.
Richard Taylor is the Weta Workshop's founder and creative director.
Anyway, come on through here.
He's also the special effects maestro on all 6 Middle-earth movies.
So there's some fun stuff around the walls. These are skulls from King Kong, just carved out of polystyrene. There's a couple of suits of armour here. This one from The Hobbit. This is a dwarven suit. I think he's still got his sword at his side. But this is actually a very important piece of armour because, of course, that's King Theoden's armour.
Hill. This was his armour from the film.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
I imagine he loved it.
He loved it. Yeah. So there's some fun things in this room. This is our makeup room. Here's the original cast of Lord of the Rings. And so we've got a large face cast collection in this room, some that we've done and others that we've collected.
How were these cast? You had the actor and they sat down in a chair?
Well, in Liv's case, she arrived. She'd been in the country 2 hours, came straight from the airport because she was 3 days out from filming. She sat almost where you're kneeling, right here in this chair. She said, "Can I have a cup of tea?" And I said, "Sure, I'll go make you one while you just settle in." I whipped away. She goes, "I have sugar." And I thought I'd be really, really slick, you see, and I put white sugar in her tea instead of the normal brown that we would use in the workshop. Gave it to her. It was salt. She spat it all over me. Like this. She was fantastic. She completely took it in her stride. And the person that just tried to poison it then face cast it. So, but as you can see, she was as cool as a cucumber. Amazing lady. Have a look at this collection. This is the cast of The Hobbit. And you can see how many more people we had to cast for The Hobbit.
Hey, look at Orlando Bloom 2012 compared to Orlando Bloom...
I know. From 15 years apart.
Still looks good. He still looks good.
Yeah.
These bats are bred for one purpose. For war.
Come on through here. This is our weapons wall. We've made, think about 25,000 bladed weapons now in our career. This is one of every weapon made for Lord of the Rings. Some of the helmets around the room.
You know what I'm going to ask you, Richard? Are they all fixed to the wall, or is there one that I can take down and hold?
I can take one down. What would you like to take down?
You pick for me. What's something you're really proud of that I can wield?
This would probably be the most special weapon that we can take down. That's the original Legolas white knife.
When I said it was fixed to the wall, it was really genuinely fixed to the wall, wasn't it?
Ties. So you can see the etching in the blade there, the inlay of gold in the hand grip. It's the white knife because of the white wood of the hand grip.
I mean, it's a piece of art. It's so beautiful. Richard, I genuinely cannot thank you enough for this experience.
It's fantastic. It's lovely sharing with you and your viewers.
It's the most immense place.
Cool.
With only a few weeks remaining before the worldwide release of the Battle of the Five Armies, I'd resigned myself to the fact there was no way Peter Jackson would have time for a chat during my trip to New Zealand. But, and not for the first time, it turned out I was wrong. The first time you pitched your take on the Fellowship, right through to now finishing the Battle of the Five Armies, what's changed and grown in terms of what's possible?
You know, it's gotten faster, cheaper. You know, there was a lot of limitations. I remember that actually the Ford of Bruinen, I remember, was a real problem for us when the first time round because people hadn't really done CGI water at that point in time. You couldn't do fire, CG fire, when we started doing these movies. Now, you know, burning Lake Town down, if it does burn down, spoiler alert, burning Lake Town down, you know, would have been a real difficult thing if we had to use real flames the whole time. You know, we did for some shots, but not. So certainly, you know, we've seen computers now, basically, from the time I got heavily involved in it, really, which was about Lord of the Rings time, to now, I just, you know, anything you imagine you can put on screen. Anything at all. So that's an exciting thing, but it comes back to the stories again. You know, there's no point imagining something that's bloody as dull as anything, and you're going to bore the pants off people. So you know, it's the onus is not on the technology; it's on the creation of the story and the storytelling.
Do you feel like you're coming to the end of a journey yourself now?
I haven't really had time to process the fact that this is the last, you know, Middle-earth film. I mean, that will happen, I think, when it comes out. I mean, at the moment, it's just kind of tunnel vision trying to get the bloody thing finished, you know. But that'll be once it's out and in the world, it'll be okay. Oh, well, gosh, it's all done. You know, which will be a happy sad. You know, it'll be sad because it's been a lot of fun and we've made a lot of friends, and happy because get to go to Fiji and lie on a beach for a week or two. So
I'll ask you that same question again when I see you in London and see how you feel once the film's...
Yeah, well, I'll be in a slightly better state then, probably. Hopefully I will be.
I'll be able to pick up the conversation with Peter Jackson when we're both back in London. But for now, it's time for the final stage of my Middle-earth adventure as I travel to Weta Digital to become part of cinematic history. In my own little way. Ike Hammond is a stuntman and motion capture performer who's worked on all 3 Hobbit movies. Overseen by the Battle of the Five Armies animation supervisor, Aaron Gilman, Ike will be my opponent today in a fight to the death between Beauty and the Beast.
So I get to be an offensive-looking troll, and he gets to be Legolas.
He gets to have all the girls swoon over him, and you get to be the guy that gets killed.
All right, cool. That's great. That's what I came. That's what I came all this way for. To die as a troll at the hands of Legolas.
That's
Great.
right. That's right.
Our battlefield will be a high-tech motion capture studio at Weta Digital, but with just a little bit of movie magic, we'll be transported to the beautiful waterside of Lake Town, first seen in the desolation of Smaug.
That's Ike in the background. He's limbering up for our fight scene, in which I obviously currently don't present much of a threat. I'm going to be a troll, so I need to get suited up as a troll. Here we go. Hello.
Darius.
Alex. Very nice to meet you, Darius.
We'll try.
All right, go away. I'm putting a suit on now.
Yeah.
You don't want to see this. No one wants to see this.
Not only am I suiting up in this season's must-have mocap outfit, I'm also being fitted with a series of tiny reflective balls. 55 of them in all, 54 of which I'll be safely returning at the end of the day.
You'd make a good elf. Kind of tall and lanky.
I hope you heard that. Did everyone get that? I'd make a good elf. I'm not being an elf, I'm being a troll, but I'd make a good elf.
The rough visuals available live in the studio will give us a pretty good idea of the environment in which the scene takes place, and also what our characters will ultimately look like, for better or worse.
I mean, this is like, why would you ever want a video game again? You just, this is the best thing in the world.
Let's take you out of this.
Okay, sorry.
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. I can see how.
This is so much fun.
It can get addicted.
No, you're beautiful.
With the scene set, Ike runs me through the all-important choreography of the fight. Basically, he's playing the dashing hero with the silky sword skills, and I'm the giant brainless fool who's trying to turn him into strawberry jam.
I'm happy to be killed by Ike. He kills trolls well, with style. That's rare.
With everything fully rehearsed, it's finally time to put it all together and go for a take.
Action.
And cut! And stab!
And cut. Good job.
And here it is, the exclusive world premiere of my first starring role.
Come on, can I, please?
How was that, sir?
Thank you so much. Guys, thank you. That was so much fun. It was unbelievable. totally coming back.
So I've seen all that Middle-earth has to offer. I've been to the Shire and taken to the skies. I've met the creatures, and I've even become one myself. All in all, it's been quite an experience.
So with that, my time at Middle-earth is at an end, and what better way to say farewell than dying on a jetty in Lake Town.
So it's back home for the final part of my adventure as the cast and filmmakers behind the movies say farewell to Middle-earth. It's been more than 15 years since Peter Jackson called action on the Fellowship of the Ring's very first shot. And with the director about to call cut on the entire saga, I wanted to take him and his collaborators back across all 6 films to talk about the experiences that shaped their time in Middle-earth.
When it was announced the film Lord of the Rings was being made, there were a lot of people who were very worried because it was a worldwide bestseller and meant a lot to a lot of people, and they didn't want their imagination of Middle-earth to be trampled over by Peter Jackson's view. I kept saying publicly, well, I'm sorry, it is Peter Jackson's view. He's making the movie. If you want to make the movie, you go and make it. By the time the first film had come out and we were doing work on the second, we realized that there was a large audience worldwide who were very keen on Peter Jackson's vision and wanted more of it. And so we're in the odd situation of making films that people actually had told us they wanted to see. Doesn't happen very often.
This isn't just the end of this film, it's the end of Tolkien on screen for our generation.
Now it is all said and done, and this is the last junket. This is the last time we're going to be talking about Middle-earth. It's very, very weird.
I'll look back on these movies and the time I spent in New Zealand as a very lovely chapter of my life.
There's a really fantastic sense of appreciation and gratitude and an achievement, you know. I think nobody more than Pete will be feeling that at this time.
Peter's objective was for us to, of course, make a humongous movie, but enjoy the process. So we did.
He's created a classic modern epic film, and that is a special thing to be a part of. I think we all feel that. And this is the last piece in a puzzle that fits into what will be a 6-part modern epic.
It's been a long journey, and the excitement of it and the reward of it is that it's a journey that people wanted us to make.
It's wonderful that this world of Middle-earth has become real for so many people.
We've had our fair share of awards and fair share of great reviews, and we've had fair share of bad reviews. And you just take those in their stride. In the end, you make these films and hand them over to the people that you made them for.
There's now a generation of young people throughout the world whose imaginations and maybe morals have been formed in part by these stories that we've been part of telling. So that makes it pretty unique.
We all knew it was going to happen at some point. We knew the goodbye, the final goodbye was coming. Every year for 3 years, we've turned up in wherever we've been and released the movies, and now we've come to the final one. It's a nice moment. It's bittersweet in a way, but there's a lot of work and blood, sweat, and tears that went into this final film, and so, yeah, we're very proud of it. It's time, yeah.
Loyalty, honor, a willing heart. I can ask no more than that.
Never thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
Even the smallest person can change the course of the future.
I remember when we spoke in New Zealand, and you said it was very difficult at that point for you to answer the question about how you were going to feel when this was all done. And you said, when the film's finished, I'll be in a better place to answer that question. So here we are at the end of that journey almost.
Yes, almost, yeah.
How does it feel?
Well, look, it feels good because I think that I'm very, very pleased with this film that we've made. You know, I think if I was to quietly say something to myself, it would be, OK, Peter, it's a job well done. You know, the sadness that I would feel isn't really so much about, well, I'm never going to do a Tolkien film again, because I quite honestly don't know whether that's true or not. I mean, who knows? You haven't got a crystal ball. But the sadness is really not working with a great group of actors and friends, but, you know, we've become friends. We come over to London, we have dinner with people, we've got their email addresses, we email all the time. So, in a way, there's not a sadness. They're not all going off to Mars. You know, they're around still, and then I feel the excitement of going on to other types of films. I've got a lot of other films I want them to do, so it's like, it's a positive thing. It's not actually that emotional or sad, particularly.
So, from the outside, the answer to this question is obvious, but for you yourself, do you feel like you've made a significant contribution to cinema in general and how stories are told on the big screen?
Well, that is definitely a question that other people should take responsibility for. What I think, though, to sort of answer it in a roundabout way, every time you do a movie, and see, I own you know, a special effects company, which is great, which allows me to have a play with all the technology. So what happens is that you take a film, and obviously The Lord of the Rings really was the catalyst. You develop technology, and all that software is immediately available to every other filmmaker in the world. So, you know, and the same with them. They're developing stuff which is available to me. What inevitably happens is that the sandbox that filmmakers have to play in, the equipment, the toys that they can play in to create the things, that everybody's contributing to making it bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think I have contributed my part to that, hopefully.
Well, if you'd rather someone else answer the question, I will step in and take that responsibility right now and just say some of the happiest times I've ever had have been thanks to you bringing Middle-earth to life on the big screen.
Thank you very much.
It's a huge thank you from me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I've been there, and I've come back again. And it looks like time is almost up on my trip through the world of unexpected journeys, Smauggish desolation and battles, fellowships and towers, and the return of kings. The films, as well as the experiences that went into making them, will, of course, live forever, shaping the lives of those involved, but more importantly, thrilling audiences that watch them years to come. And when all's said and done, that's the real legacy of Peter Jackson's Middle-earth.
Coming up next here on Sky One HD, Vanessa's rallying the troops for a neighbourhood watch, and Mike's decided it's time to put his house in more order. A double bill of Last Man Standing is next.